What? You didn't want to leave the park? Yes, I didn't want to leave the park. Oh, and then you began to cry? Yes, then I began to cry. Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Harley. I am a pediatric occupational therapist, a toddler mom, and the founder of Playful Pod, which is my play and child development membership community. Today we are talking about how to process emotions using these fun things and easy to make called story spoons. So I want to break this down with an example. Let's say you go to the park with your child and they don't want to leave. Now you've done the normal wind down routine, you've given them a 5-minute warning, you've given them a 2-minute warning, you've helped them to say goodbye to the swings, to say goodbye to their friends, and it's still really tough for them. Now, of course, it's allowed to be tough for them. They're allowed to have difficulty parting from things. But how can we really equip them with skills to understand that we will come back to the park, not in the moment while there's like emotions flaring, but afterwards? How do we actually open up a conversation that is more than you saying, next time, will you trust me that we will come back? And they'll say, ah. How do we go further than that? And that's where story spoons come in. You see, often when we talk to our children about something that happened and we're trying to direct them into an understanding of the world or, into a coping skill that might be useful to them, we end up speaking above them. We end up making them feel shamed because they feel like something that they did was just so wrong, and they can feel like kind of backed into a corner. And it isn't always clear, especially with young children, if they actually really understood what you were saying anyway. Have you ever experienced that? Let me know down in the comments if that sounds like something that resonates with you in raising your children. So why story spoons work is because it gives your child a chance to step back. Now we're not talking about your child Ben or your daughter Sarah. We're talking about Miss Piggy and Mr. Wiggly. And Mr. Wiggly doesn't want to leave the park, and Mrs. Wiggly says it's time to go home. Now you play out the exact situation that you talked about. You allow that Mr. Wiggly is allowed to have big feelings about that. He's very upset. He said goodbye to everything, but he's still actually inside a little bit worried that maybe they'll never come back to this park and that he'll always miss it. You see, by doing this, you actually allow your child also more insight into why they feel something. When our children are in the throes of a tantrum or in the throes of a big feeling, everything can become a bit murky, that everything just feels bad. And when we can break it down with this kind of story, then we can really dive into why they're feeling something and how we can solve that problem. So, okay, Mr. Wiggly's like just super worried that they'll never come back to this park and that he'll always miss it. And Mrs. Wiggly says, you know what, Mr. Wiggly, I completely understand that. And we will be coming back to this park. It's hard to say goodbye to things. I understand that. Can we think together about when you would like to come back? And we'll put it up on our schedule. We'll draw a picture of it when we get home. And then you'll know that we will be coming back. Oh, yes, I think that could be something that might work for me, says Mr. Wiggly. And off they go, home. So that might not be a coping skill that might be relevant for your situation to draw a picture or put it on a schedule, but my guess is that you have a coping skill that you would like to impart on your child, whether it be around sharing toys, that you're teaching them, yes, you really want this, but somebody else has it, so we're going to wait our turn, or we can ask them to swap a toy. So now you've given them a clear thing. Instead of just feeling all murky and grey and sad and disappointed, we actually have a skill here that we can use. You can put this kind of into every situation, because in every situation where our children are feeling dysregulated and having a really hard time and we're trying to communicate with them what we want them to do, we're actually teaching them a coping skill. So these story spoons are amazing. We use them in our house regularly just to talk about situations, and often it's on repeat talking about a situation that might be happening a lot. And it's just so much easier for children to grasp it when they can see it laid out, the situation played out at least, with spoons that are not them, and it's just so much more welcoming and less intimidating. So, okay, My guess is if you're crafty, you probably have already guessed how to make these, but you basically need to get some spoons. You can see I had square ones, but any spoon will do. It can be old, it can be new. And then paint them. I'll link below an affiliate link for some child-safe paints. And also then some craft stuff. So you can use these googly eyes if you want to. You can use what we have here, wool, and a crown. And these are just like foam things that I've cut out. Some glasses. And there you go. It doesn't necessarily have to look exactly like your child, and you can have really fun names for your spoons. I would love to see what you create. So go ahead and tag me over on Instagram when you have finished your story spoons. That's at @OT_Holly. And I would love to share that out and just see what you create. So now we've learned how to process these emotions afterwards using story spoons, but what do we do to kind of stop the emotions always happening? It can feel sometimes with toddlers that it's just tantrum after tantrum. So in the next video, we're going to be talking about how to stop tantrums before they begin, and I'll see you over there.